All right, you guys have clicked on the video here about making your CO2 designs in CAD to prototype them here. And you have the Canvas document as well that you would have clicked on. So you should be looking at something like this. I'm not going to read through all this, but these are things that you should be mindful of down below. So I'm saying there's a starter file, so that's what I'm going to reference and help you out. If you want to actually take advantage of, the power of CAD, we can allow it to calculate for us the weight of your car. Right now, we're saying a good target is about 100 grams. Your car will end up being lighter, but we don't want it to be too light from the beginning. You need to be able to shape it, sand it, smooth it out, and not risk going under the weight while doing that. And then you need to be mindful of these key dimensions. So I've got a section about the body, a section about the axle holes, and then a couple things about the power plant. Now, these are just highlighting some of the many dimensional constraints on the TSA document. So what I've given you, I've shared with you through the Teams folder. So on your homepage, if you go back to your homepage of Onshape, over on the left here, you'll see Teams. You go into the Teams folder for your class, and you will find this CO2 Dragster Student Starter Help. This document, you're going to have view rights, but not edit rights. So you're going to have to make a copy of it. I think you can right click without going into it back in, when you see it and say copy workspace. But if you're in the document and you realize I can't do anything in here, you'll be able to hit copy workspace and you can give it your own name. So CO2 Dragster, I'd like you to put your bell number. If you were a third bell student, to put 3 and then your last name, not mine. So I'll just put last name. Some students actually type my last name. So your bell number, a space, your last name, a space, and then, whatever you want, the Dragster project, CO2 cars, whatever. So, okay. Now you have a copy that you can edit and work with yourself by doing that. All right, so in this document, I've got a part studio for us to model other parts of the car, other than the body, the wheels, the bushings, things like that. For right now, I'm asking you to prototype your car. So I've given you two pretty much duplicate tabs here where the blank piece of wood has already been modeled, right? And I've got sketches here that are ready to go for you to go in and edit them. I've labeled them here, sketch axle hole. If I turn that one on, make it visible again. This is the sketch where I have located and kind of sized for myself to see what the axle hole is going to look like. The construction circles are not needed. They're there just for visual reference for the most part. This being the axle and that being the wheel, I was curious, to see what the wheel is going to look like next to my car, scale-wise. So the two key things in here that you would change would be the height of the axle hole, right? Remember, the bottom of the hole to the bottom of the car has to be somewhere between 5 and 10 millimeters. So you can come in here and you can play around with that. Now, we'd really like you to not be shooting for the low number 5, rather something bigger, 8 to 10, because you can always sand off some of the bottom and make this distance get smaller later. But you're not going to be able to, add material. If you aim for 5 and it's too short, the distance is too short, then you've got a big problem. Okay, so you can for the sake of just kind of building around your axle holes and looking at your outer shape right now, maybe just 8 to 10 is good. All right. You can change this distance, which is the distance from the center of the hole to the back of the car. They say that the distance between the back of the car and the axle hole needs to be between 15 and 100 millimeters. So 15 is really close. I actually wouldn't use 15. I'd probably use 20 at my smallest because I've got this to the center mark, not the edge where they might measure. And 100 is pretty far. Okay. And so you're actually a little closer than if you use 100, but that's fair. So I would say, 20 to 100 would be my range. And you can do that with both the front wheel and the back wheel. Now, if you move the front wheel and the back wheel both to their limits, you're going to notice that this value, it's gray because it's not actually a constraint. It's just showing me the distance. That is too small, according to another criteria in our design brief. The wheelbase has to be longer than 75. It has to be at least 105. So even though you're allowed to bring the front wheel back and the back wheel forward, you can't bring them both as far in as possible. So you'll have to make sure that this number here stays to be 105 or bigger. So if you are trying to come up with some design where these wheels are coming in quite a bit, you can do that. Okay. I have put a point here to represent the maximum length of my car as well. Remember, the stock is too long. It is not the correct stock length. All right. So you can come in here and play around with those things. You can move those things. All right. So next, you can sketch a side view of your car. Okay. So what is my car going to look like? So I'm going to, I'm basically trying to sketch out what would get removed or where I might cut. So what if this is my car? I have already projected for you the CO2 hole so you can see where that is to make sure you're avoiding it. Remember, you need a 5 millimeter minimum thickness all the way around. So I'm not wanting to create a cut line that skirts right past this corner or this corner or any of these lines because I'm supposed to have a minimum of 5 millimeters. Honestly, I didn't do this, but I could put a construction circle kind of right here and let that be 5 millimeters. And that would give me a visual reference, right, where 5 millimeters is to say, hey, don't come within that circle, right, of those corners. If you do that, you're too close. So, but that's a sketch that then I can extrude remove the negative space, right, to cut away from my car, like that, right? And as I start removing material, I'm going to be able to check the mass of my car. If I click the little scale, click on the object, I can see the weight. And so I went from 235 to 170. So I've dropped some weight, but I'm not as low as I want to go. So I'm also going to, I might come back and continue to brainstorm how to remove material from this perspective, right? So this could be something, I can take advantage of these edges. Let's just do a couple other things. Just trying to illustrate quickly. And I'm going to go back into that same extrusion and just add to my selections instead of starting a whole new extrusion. And there, I can kind of continue to work this angle in terms of removing mass. But I also have the ability to go to a top view. So I have a sketch for the top view. And what I've done for your top view is I've projected to the top the sides of the car already. So you can see the edges, right? So if you kind of create a profile that you want to cut away, it can connect to those and be a closed profile. I have given you a center line that you can mirror across, and I have it projecting the axle holes in the CO2 hole. So we don't want to cut off any width where the axle holes are, okay? That's one of our things. Let's not remove any width. So you want to work around that. Now, if you don't like where the axle holes are, what are you going to do, right? You're going to come back to the sketch where the axle holes are. You're going to move them with this dimension here. So let's say I want that front axle to be much further forward. I come back in here and you notice that the projection of that has also moved forward. Now, I'm going to have to also rework my side view because that's not going to work, right? Kind of go back and see that's not good. So, but that's okay. I'll rework my side view. Anyway, so from above, you can see where your axles are located. You have a center line that you can mirror across, and you've got the CO2 hole as well. And so the same idea of removing weight and being able to go over to the bandsaw and make some cuts. I could plan out something like this. And then if I want to make a symmetrical cut from the opposite side, right, I'm just going to mirror it over here in the sketch. So I'm going to use the mirror tool. The mirror tool asks that you select a mirror line first. I'm going to choose the mirror line. Then it says go ahead and select the entities. So it's just going to be these 3 line segments. The other side is already projected, so it should recognize that as a closed region. And then I can extrude, remove again from now a different angle. And so now I have this compound kind of cutting of views. I'm going from the side, I'm going from the top, and I'm going to continue to work away material. Now, I don't like seeing all the sketches. You can't delete them, but you can use the eyeballs to hide them to go and get a feel for your car. And you can check the weight again. So you click on the scale, you click on the car, and now I'm getting a lot closer already. That's 127. My target right now is only 100. So, right, but this is what you should be doing. You should be brainstorming how to get a car that you like, that satisfies the constraints. Right now, this does not. That's not good. That I think is going to be aerodynamic, fast, satisfies the constraints. And then I want you to have a second one. So you have two different tabs, two different prototypes. All right. Use my document to start. Just change your name and use this. Hopefully that helps you out.